Good Monday morning, and welcome back to another episode of Success by the Book, where we break down timeless truths and apply them to life and business in 30 minutes or less. As always, I am joined by our amazing hosts. We've got a first and foremost, Coach Bill Hart, who's the National Leadership Coach over at Movement. Coach, it's good to see you.
Good to be here, buddy.
Absolutely. Great to have you as always. And of course, we have Coach Kyle Draper, who creative rethink everything. He does a million things, so just look him up and follow all the things that he does. It's incredible.
And also award-winning.
That's right.
Quite possibly the coolest award ever last week.
Do you have it? Can you show it?
I do. Now,
all right,
I just worked out for the first time this morning in like 10 years. So this 12-pound guitar feels like 100, but it's it's pretty.
Come on.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, come on, dude.
It's a real guitar.
It's a real guitar.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know,
well deserved, my friend.
I paid Dale a lot of money to kind of like half butt his answers. So I have to thank him for basically giving it to me.
That's awesome. Yeah. So for those who don't know, Kyle, Christine Beckwith, and then our typical third host, Dale Vermillion, the founder and CEO of More Champions, competed in the inaugural Clash of the Coaches over at Fuse during this weekend in New Orleans. And Kyle came out on top, had some suave answers, took out the old dogs. So it's a new generation coming in hot.
I was, hopefully Dale's really on an airplane and he's not just like, ducking the champ.
He's sulking. He's totally sulking right now.
He's scared.
No, Dale, he is celebrating you, man. He is celebrating
100%.
That's the truth. That's
100%.
So he's with a client this morning, but we're excited to be here and to be talking about speech. Now, there's a lot that you can talk about when you think of the idea of speech, right? And we're going to get into all of it. We're going to get into the soft things of, why our speech should be, as the Bible says, seasoned with grace, seasoned with salt, that it should be uplifting, encouraging, positive, and not negative and taking people down all the time. But we are obviously in a tough market now, and we're also at the precipice of a market shift. And so I think we can all agree that this is a timely place and space to be talking about what do loan officers need to be saying both to their borrowers and to their referral partners as well as within their team. So we're going to talk not just about the way that you speak, the delivery of your speech, but also the content of your speech today. But let's just start at the 30,000 foot level. And let me ask you guys, Coach, let's start with you. Obviously, you're a Christian, you're a coach in the space, a highly influential coach in the space. When you think about speech, like, why does it matter in generally? Because I'm sure you talk about this a lot with those that you're coaching on a regular basis. Why does it matter?
Yeah, I mean, at a kind of a 30,000 foot view, I do believe words really matter. And let me tell you where my head goes. My head goes to the short version of this is I was speaking to an audience of about 1,200 people years and years and years ago. Felt really good about it. I'm hopeful I haven't told this story before on the show, but if I have, it'll make the point a different way. I felt really good about it. And later my wife said, I overheard some women talking in the restroom and they were, hey, how'd you like Coach Bill? I was really good. One woman said, yeah, he was good. They didn't know who Tony was, didn't know who my wife was. Yeah, he was good. I thought he was a little full of himself. And Tony relays that to me later after having been on a high, right? And I thought, oh boy. Okay, wow, I have to really work on that. And so from that moment forward, I worked on being more relatable, showing more hubris, self-effacing humor, because I didn't want to come across as cocky. That's just a nightmare for me. And so those words were like a sword going through my heart. And the other side of that coin is I find as a coach, often I'm the only person to say to clients, dream big. In many cases, they've never heard that in their lives. Wow. And so I feel like that's incumbent upon me as a coach to try and speak life and possibility into clients. And now increasingly, I find myself doing that with my kids and adult grandkids as well. So words matter, right? Words matter. We can build up or beat down, and I'm going to try and build up every time I can.
Man, I love that. It reminds me of this quote that I found from Mark Twain preparing for today's episode. He says, the difference between the almost right word and the right word is really a large matter. It's the difference between the lightning bug and the lightning. And I think that just speaks to it. Like, you can be so close, right? You can be like that 5% away And it matters. That 5% really does matter. Kyle, we talked even this weekend about you're sort of kind of famously known around the industry for like self-effacing humor. Can you speak to the fact of like why you take that approach and why you're always willing to take a pot shot at yourself in order to be able to deliver a message?
There's two reasons for it. One, ever since I was the fat kid in elementary school, if I could make fun of myself before the bully could, I took the power away from the bully. And so that's still true to this day, right? And so to be able to remove the power from anybody that would want to use it against you, self-deprecating humor is just such an easy way to do that. But it's also, I think me and Dad talking about this at breakfast because he kind of called me out on like, dude, you got to quit being so self-deprecating. I think he even referenced like, I know that Jake said he read a study, about like, people. And your dad was kind of getting after me a little bit in the way that he does. And I just said, Dale, I said, self-deprecating humor helps keep me humble. Like if I'm not poking fun at myself, I will come across the way Coach Bill did in that room years ago. Because I think a lot of confident people can be seen as very arrogant and conceited people. And it's absolutely false. But we believe in what we do. And I know like all of us on this call, like I believe I'm the best in the world at what I do. Well, if that's the tone that I took on stage, I mean, I would look like the world's most arrogant human being. And so I just really think that self-deprecating humor, noise, it reminds people that you're a human being just like they are. And I think most arrogant people can't be self-deprecating, which is a sign of their arrogance. And so for me, when I hear someone else willing to be self-deprecating, to me, that's a sign of someone who has some humility. And it makes me want to lean in a little bit more and be willing to listen.
Yeah, it's it kind of reminds me. I think it's Plato who had said something to this effect, but he said, like wise people speak because they have something to say. Fools speak because they have to say something. I believe is how it goes, right? And so, because I think you're talking to attention that really does apply to loan officers and applies to loan officers right now. So let's get tactical, right?
Yeah,
there are fewer opportunities in this market than there have been for a long time, right? And so we're just going to walk through the funnel today, right? And so like the first issue that a loan officer is going to face is I got to get more opportunities, right? And there's a lot of different ways you could do. You could go about that. You can buy leads. You can bring on more referral partners. You can get on social media and try to go direct to consumer. You name it. So you're going to be talking to someone though, right? In order to drum up more opportunities. And I think to your point, Kyle, you have to be able to reveal the fact that you are an expert, that you do believe you're extremely good at what you do, if not the very best. And yet at the same time, you have to be personable. You have to be humble. You can't be seen as the arrogant guy, you know what I mean? Because it is off-putting to people. So let's talk about that. What should loan officers be saying in their strategy right now to create more opportunities, and to whom should they be saying it? So Coach Bill, let's start with you. Like where do you think is the best opportunity to drive in new business right now? And what are some talk tracks that you see are winning with your loan officers at Movement and elsewhere that might be helpful for loan officers who are tuning in right now?
Yeah, man. So the first thing that comes to my mind is the philosophy of order taker, and there's no shortage of order takers in the mortgage industry, versus solution providers. And so if I'm a solution provider, I'm going to ask different questions and I'm going to use different words in that process. What I always tell clients in the mortgage business is that your best resource to get better at this is completely free. You go to, what's it called? Trust Engine Mastermind Productivity Group, Dave Savage's group on Facebook. There's 17,900 members there. You ask to be let in, they'll let you in. It's super simple. And then you can search for whatever your thing is. So let's say you're a loan officer right now and you're working with, if you're honest with yourself, you've got 6 realtors that maybe send you leads. You got another 25 that you market to, and you've got 387 people in your database. I am here to tell you that's not enough. Like it's not okay. So You've got to build out your referral partner network. You absolutely have to build out your database. But one of the ways I would coach you to do that is to go to the Trust Engine Mastermind Productivity Group on Facebook, search for, hypothetically, let's say you want to start working with wealth advisors and financial planners and insurance agents. Just go into search, just click on search, put those words in, and you'll start seeing people come up talking about how they connect with those people. And I'm telling you, they speak differently. They use different words. They communicate in terms of certainty. Jeremy Forcier recently, in an interview with Daniel Saw, S.A., highly recommend this, by the way, he said, I'm going to paraphrase this poorly, but he said, basically, no matter who I'm talking to, if they have a horrible FICO score and no cash in the bank and they make $38,000 combined and they're looking at a $600,000 house and they want to know if they can make this happen, he said, it's not no, it's not yet.
Yeah.
We have to figure out, is there a way, is there another source of funds? Can you borrow some money? Could you buy the property with somebody? Let's pre-qualify you on what you actually have right now. And maybe you can afford a $127,000 house, but it's not no, it's not yet. Because as we're entering into these people's lives and the biggest conversations they're going to ever have, most people, about any kind of investment, let's encourage them. Let's equip them, and then let's keep them on a long-term plan. Not crud, I can't help them today, so next. That's not the approach.
Coach, that's so good. Kyle and I were just at Fuse this weekend, and Barry Habib wrapped up the event, and he went through a whole bunch of numbers. But one that applies to what you're talking about right now is he mentioned that for every point that rates come down, 5 million more borrowers come into the market as eligible for refinance. Right. So
amazing.
What's happening on September 18th with the Fed, right? We know that the labor market is softening, that we know that inflation is coming down. So we're going to start seeing rate cuts. Rates are now, the Fed coming down, and then where mortgage, we could see a potential raise before they come down, and all side of the 10-year. But the point is, as rates are coming down, millions and millions of borrowers are going to be coming back into the market. So the question becomes, when should you be talking about it? Then or now? The answer is now.
Now.
Right? Now.
Yeah,
for sure.
And you can do that through social media. You can do it calling your database. You can do it through developing new referral partners and just speaking with every client that they have. And if it's not a no, but a not yet right now, okay, then continue the conversation through automated campaigns. Kyle, let's get to your area of expertise, because social media is a huge avenue to be able to reach new borrowers, to create new opportunities, also to reach referral partners. And I love the way that we talked about over breakfast. You see social media as an extension of your database. So what should loan officers be saying right now on social media to be attracting new opportunities, either now or in the near future as rates come down?
Jake, I would be saying the opposite of all the ignorant news outlets.
Okay.
Right. All the news outlets right now that are just fear mongering, right? And it's all about viewership. They're not trying to educate the buyer. Do we really think that CNN and Fox News, like, they're bringing on people to educate buyers? Is that why they're doing it? Because their hearts are so big and full? No, they're trying to create ratings for themselves.
But
so
I'd love
course,
to think that. Come on, just for a minute, I'd love.
Of course we would,
that.
right?
But no, you're right. Okay, go ahead.
And so, I mean, Coach Bill, what you and I hear all the time from LOs is, man, did y'all hear what the news said the other day? I can't believe they'd say something like that. And that's all they do about it, is complain to their peers about it. Instead of going, you know what? I'm going to create a narrative that is based around what I believe the truth to be. And then I'm going to create content that says, guys, I don't know if you caught Channel 5 last night, but here's what they said. They said, blah, 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 blah. Here's why that's not true. And go create some safety amongst your people, because unfortunately, in the world we live in now, we tend to listen to who's the loudest.
For sure.
And most of the good people in our industry are not choosing to be the loudest. And so the truth is passing people by, and they're going, well, the news said that, man, if you can't put 20% down, you're probably not going to get qualified for anything right now.
Yep.
Well, oh my gosh, how wrong is that? How many different loan products are available that call that a liar? That's where I would be starting right now, is finding all the misnomers and coming back at them with what you know to be the truth based on your area of expertise.
Yeah. So good.
Yeah, it's really good, Kyle. As a matter of fact, excuse me just a quick second, Jake, but
Please.
I mean, for some of you right now that are listening and or watching, that might be a great series, like Misnomer Week 1, Misnomer Week 2, like, and maybe you have a balloon and you pop it with a needle, you know, as you're saying, let's pop because this is not the truth. 20% down is a great example. You know, there's, I mean, 3.5% down is prevalent for their bond programs where you can get them for nothing. Veterans have an unbelievable
VA programs.
opportunity in front of them.
Totally.
Right? There's so much opportunity. The other thing that I would say that is relevant to what Kyle just said, I think though, is to help people understand that, well, let's imagine that rates do continue to go down. And that's a good point. Like rates have already dropped. Like, be not deceived, right?
Yes.
Rates
No,
have already dropped.
100%.
Yeah, and they may not go down any further. To your point, there's no actual correlation. We think there is. Anyway, rates may not go down anymore. So what I would say to people, though, is we may just be exiting the best buyer's market in history because you have had an opportunity to, with a limited number of properties for sale, right? You have had an opportunity to negotiate, to be in a little better position. It's going to start getting a lot more competitive out there. Right.
Yes.
So we have to be prepared for that. We could very well start to see an increase in property values as rates come down, but it's going to be more frenetic out in the market. So anyway, I don't want to get off on the tangent on that, but Kyle points out something really important.
Can I add this to what I said and then what Coach Bill just said? I think so. We're talking about speech. We're talking about how to say the right thing at the right time. And so I know for us as believers, right, we always look at everything we do as sowing seed, right? We're sowing seed. Well, when you take that analogy to its core, you have to be patient as the seed sower. You have to be. No farmer is going to go check the soil every morning going, where's the crops? How long is this going to take? What the heck? They understand the pattern. They understand the process. They understand what's required before you ever see any growth for growth to happen. And so I think we have to, as the experts, we have to adopt this mindset of we are going in this season to sow good seed. We're going to tell people the truth. We're going to use edifying language to encourage people to not wait around, because you could do the math, right, on however you want to spin the math. But we have to trust that what we're doing is landing on fertile soil and it's going to grow over time. But most LOs, if they're not careful, the moment the rate drops, in their opinion, enough to matter, they're going to just jump in front of their megaphones with the typical language of every other LO. And so I think we've really got to do a good job of getting out in front of it without any instant gratification needs. And the people that do that are going to, I think, win a ton.
I couldn't agree more. And I love the analogy for a couple of reasons. First and foremost, it takes labor to sow seeds, right? So it takes hard work. It's not easy to be an expert. It's not easy to jump on social media and do posting and do videos. It's not easy to read through the news looking for the bright spots, not the dark spots. It's not easy to remain positive when everyone else is negative. And it's not easy to call a bunch of borrowers who may not be qualified now with the promise that they might be qualified in the future, right? Those are not necessarily easy things to do, but they are the things that are going to produce a harvest in the near future. Right. Secondly, I love the analogy because every smart farmer, while they're not checking the fields every morning, they are rotating their fields, right? They're not just
100%.
they're not just sowing the same crop and have this huge harvest at, one time a year, because guess what? Weather is not controllable by us and by farmers. And for us, the market is not controllable, right? We don't know what's going to happen. And so by diversifying our products, by diversifying our referral partners, by diversifying our lead sources, that's the way that we're going to ensure that we have a steady, consistent stream of a harvest that's being brought in continually to feed us, right? So, hey, I love this comment by Stacey Lynn Shriver. She always just has a way to like sum up what we're talking about in a short, simple way. So, Stacey, good on you for doing it once again. She just says, "Be helpful and hopeful." That's so true. Like that's basically the essence of what we need to do with our speech. Be helpful, be an expert, be hopeful, be positive. So, let's pivot. So we're getting close to time here. We've obviously talked about the fact that referral partners are extremely important in this market to a loan officer. Many loan officers work with them. Even if you don't, still thinking through the talk tracks of how you approach a new referral partner could be helpful to your business. So, Coach, let's start with you. We've talked about some speech and some talk tracks that you can use with borrowers, how the market is sort of shifting. Obviously, with the NRA settlement, there's a lot of shakeup on the real estate side as well. What should loan officers be saying to potential referral partners? And to your point earlier, like if they want to approach someone other than just realtors, CPAs, financial advisors, divorce attorneys, probate attorneys, like what are maybe some talk tracks that they could use on that front to get in the door?
Yeah, so let's start with the NAR settlement because that has been, oh my goodness. I mean, it was like, for those of you that remember Dodd-Frank years ago, it's that kind of, ripple effect that's coming from it. James Allen, one of our top LOs on the East Coast, was on Scriptapalooza, for those of you that have followed that, which is always a great source of like, what are top producers saying? How are they connecting right now? And here's what he said. So I'm reading notes, forgive me as I look off camera. But he said what he's doing, and he's been doing this for months, ever since it was first announced. He said, I'm doing 75-minute realtor training, getting really granular on, like, for example, the difference between payments and credits. He said, the objective is I want realtors to leave that room with this idea. I need a great LO now more than ever. And he goes on to say, I want you to leave that room. I want them to leave that room with, you've got to have a great partner in the business right now who has the ability to articulate the solutions to the problems we face, or you're going to be in trouble when your appraisal comes in short and your 6% credit goes down to 3% and you just lost your 2.5% buyer commission, and you don't have a lender that's nimble enough to make that change. That's where I believe the opportunity is. Look, guys, we know that we lost. Your dad would know the number. I don't know, Jake, offhand. Maybe you guys heard it last week, but let's call it 40% of the LO population that left. It may have been appreciably more than that. Huh?
It's a little under 100,000 year over year from 2023 to 2024.
I mean, that's amazing.
Significant.
They've left.
They've
left. They're doing something else, right? They're someplace else doing something else. I believe there's another wave that's going to happen right now based on the ability to step into the professional opportunity. This business has been very easy. I'm not saying you didn't have to work hard, but it's been very easy when the phone was ringing and rates were low and you could refi somebody 3 times in a year. Like, pretty simple, right? Like, wow, this is great money. And now all of a sudden, to be able to distance yourself from people that are just quoting rates. I know you guys were talking about it when I first came onto the call before we went live. That's enormous to get past that conversation, because guess what? The consumer, the only thing they know to ask you is what's your rate.
That's right.
And your ability to be able to professionally get them off that through a series of questions, helping them to understand the bigger picture. How long are you going to be in the house? What is it you want to accomplish? I mean, listen to Dale talk about that, right? He'll equip you. You'll have arrows in your quiver as to how to deal with that. But it's all they know. It's all we see on TV, here on the radio. It's the only DMs that we get from mortgage companies, and it's the emails we get. So, we have to help them transition there.
I think that's such a good way of putting it, Bill. It's like 2021, 2022 were the game was process, right? As quick as possible.
For sure.
How can you just get through the process? And now the game has shifted and it's proposition. What can you offer? Right. Kyle, let's talk about that on your front. So people need to expand their referral partner databases. Great way to do that is social media. Great way to do that is video. What are some, either with your clients or just what you're recommending personally, like what are some winning talk tracks that you've seen of people being able to gain traction with realtors and the rest?
So first of all, right, there's a reference in the Gospels to, a great picture imagery of building a house on the sand versus on the rock. And of course, we know that to be, talking about salvation, but I think it also applies to business. And we've watched a ton of lenders who built their business on sand, and boom, the minute the floods came in, like they're done and they're gone. And so as you're making calls, as you're reaching out to these people, you better have a baseline of content that they're going to be able to go fall back on, because they're going to go, okay, this Coach Bill Hart guy called. Who is he? What is he about? He said he was awesome, but if his content doesn't back up how awesome he said he was, or when the LO says you need a better LO now more than ever, well, then you better have content that's you talking through equations and talking through scenarios and here was the trouble I found this family in, but here's what we were able to do for them in a matter of 4 months through our credit repair partner, right? Like, you better have examples of all these narratives that you claim to be good at and be a value add to the realtor partner with.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the most important thing more than ever. But here's my favorite talk track. And I don't even know if this is good sales. Coach Bill can grade me on this after I'm finished.
We'll get Dale's report card after the fact.
Yeah,
exactly.
and of course, Dale will give me his feedback, but it'll be after the live video's over.
Right.
So the people won't know if it was crappy or not. So I love, for my speaking business, some of the ways that I've gotten really good speaking gigs is by reaching out to organizations. This would be the same for an LO reaching out to a realtor and saying this: hey, I know your lineup is full, but somebody always falls out. Somebody gets sick. Somebody misses a flight. I want to be your backup. I want to be your backup. Like, I believe I'm better than the people you already have on stage. Let's get that clear. But I want to be your backup. And nobody says no to you asking to be the backup, right? So as an LO, if I call Mr. and Mrs. Realtor and I'm like, hey, I know you love your lender partners right now. Guess what? They probably don't. But let's assume that they do. I just want to be your backup. And as I'm in your backup seat, let me also tell you that my favorite loan type is the VA loan. And we've put 84 veterans into their own home in the last 3 years. It's unbelievable. Realtors misleverage it and overthink it and don't see it the way they should. And so as I sit in your backup seat, I just wanted you to know that there's a great opportunity there.
Yeah. I think that second part is so
They're
critical.
now begging me.
Yeah.
Right? They're not
For
going,
sure.
Thanks, Kyle. We appreciate the call. Click. No, they're going, whoa. Tell me more about
So
that.
the secret there, and I know we're about out of time, the secret there, and I know you do this as a speaker, but as an LO, you have to over deliver in terms of value. You have to over communicate about what you're doing so that you stand out. They didn't just let you in and you got in that bat. They let you in and you hit one over the fence and the lights are exploding. Like, wow, this person is amazing. They made me look better. They helped me get better ratings on social. I got 5-star reviews because they were with me. Like, wow. Anyway, good
So
stuff, buddy.
Yep. A couple of key takeaways from the last couple of comments. First and foremost, like, just speak it all is kind of a takeaway, right? Like, the reality is a lot of loan officers, they just kind of stop talking to their referral partners and they've stopped communicating with their borrowers, especially once they're in process, right? They take an initial app or they get them to a digital application and that's kind of it. So it's like, pick the phone back up and start talking, right? Say the right things when you get on there, but just pick up the phone. And then secondly, to Kyle's point, like, niche down. Like, yes, it's great to be the backup, but they'll only ever really call you back if you've clearly explained the exact use case where you are your best and where they probably have a need, right? So niche down and just keep picking up the phone. The last thing I just want to say before we part here today is, just reference back to what the ancients have known for thousands of years. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. When we talk about speech, it would be remiss of us to say that it's important that you say the right thing at the right time, but sometimes it's also really important that you just sit back and you listen. That's gonna be hugely important for your success in life. So as always, gentlemen, thank you so much for your advice. Thank you for being with us this morning. This has been another episode of Success by the Book. We stream live every Monday morning at 10 a.m. Central, 11 Eastern, and 8 a.m. Pacific. We'll be back next week to talk about another great topic. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you then and there. God bless.
Bye, guys.